There are so many diets that claim to be effective for weight loss, but the reality is that most of them are unrealistic, unsustainable, and quite frankly, dangerous. Now there's a new diet that has gone viral called the 30-30-30 diet, and it's been taken up by people across the globe with heaps of reported weight loss stories and potential health benefits. But is it actually safe? Is it healthy? And is it something that you should follow? Let's jump in. Hey, and welcome to Vegetarian Health and Longevity, a podcast by Hurry the Food Up, where I cover topics that help vegetarians live longer in better health. I'm your host, James LeBague, and I work as a registered sport and exercise nutritionist and advanced clinical practitioner in family medicine. It's my pleasure to interview expert guests, share my own experiences from working with patients and clients, and demystify some of the nutrition fluff that's out there to give you practical, take-home information that you can use to live a healthier life. One of the most common things I hear when I speak to people for the first time about weight loss is that they are keen to lose weight quickly. And this makes total sense. Quick results are satisfying, they're motivating, and they're a sign that you're on the right track, right? Well, not necessarily, and this is one of the biggest problems with diet culture in general now. Many of these diets are unrealistic and aren't sustainable, and can put you at risk of nutritional deficiencies and harm your health. So anytime a new diet crops up, like this 30-30-30 diet, I'm always skeptical and want to investigate it properly. This was a diet that my brother, Dave, one of the co-founders of Hurry the Food Up, mentioned and sent me some info on it. It sounds catchy. The 30-30-30 is easy to remember and kind of feels fun, and clearly it's popular. He asked whether it's something that had any real scientific basis and whether it's something that vegetarians should follow. I'm going to give you all the info on this, but first I figure it's worth explaining what this diet actually is and how it works. The whole concept is to eat 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up, followed by 30 minutes of low-intensity exercise, hence the 30-30-30. The idea is that you give your body a big blast of protein first thing, because protein is satisfying and makes you feel full, and it's also involved with appetite regulation later in the day, as well as contributing to healthy functioning muscle. Now, this is absolutely true and deeply rooted in science. We have heaps of evidence to show that protein is beneficial, especially so if you're trying to lose weight. Because protein helps you to feel full and satisfied, it can reduce cravings and the need for snacking, and that can help you to stay in a calorie deficit, which is what you need to lose weight. It also contributes to muscle maintenance, and I'm talking just healthy functioning muscle here, not anything like big, strong bodybuilder muscles, although it does help with that too. But I always recommend it, especially as you get older, because generally protein needs increase throughout your lifespan. Another benefit of protein is that it has the highest thermic effect of food out of the macronutrients, so carbohydrates, protein and fat, which means you actually burn a little more energy digesting protein than the others, so your overall calorie burn is higher on higher protein diets. And eating a good amount of protein in the morning is a fantastic thing to do. There's evidence to show that by having a high protein breakfast, you'll reduce the likelihood of overeating later in the day, which for people trying to lose weight is definitely a helpful benefit. There was also a study in 2022 that demonstrated that spacing protein intake evenly across the day was associated with an improved body composition in females, so more muscle and lower body fat, which is one of the reasons we're so keen at Hurry the Food Up to promote a good source of protein in every meal, and why we try to build this into our meal plans. Unfortunately, one of the places that people fall down on with their protein intake is at breakfast, so this approach from the 30-30-30 diet in prioritizing protein at breakfast should mean that more people eat more protein at breakfast, which is a great outcome in my eyes. Then there's the exercise component of the diet. 30 minutes of low-intensity exercise after consuming your 30 grams of protein. In theory, this is awesome because if you were following this, you'd be doing 30 minutes of exercise a day, which, if we're being honest, is probably far more than a lot of people do. And I am a big fan of exercise because it's super beneficial for health, whether it's cardiovascular training, so the classic running, cycling, dancing, or resistance training, so lifting weights or yoga involving lifts and strength positions. Exercise helps to create new healthy muscle tissue. It helps with controlling blood sugar levels. It helps immune function, and it can reduce the risk of so many long-term diseases. The focus with the 30-30-30 diet is on low-intensity exercise, and let me say that I love this. Low-intensity exercise means exercise where your breathing doesn't really increase above your baseline, so you can still talk fully and breathe in and out through your nose. If you like numbers like me, then loosely speaking, this would correspond to about 65% of your maximum heart rate. For a lot of people, this can feel pretty alien and like you aren't really doing anything, but I can promise you it is doing you a heck of a lot of good. And actually, I'd encourage this approach for a lot of people. It's such a common theme to see people exercising way too hard, too frequently, which means they end up burning out and not being able to stick to their exercise routine over the long term, which defeats the point of it. So aiming for low intensity exercise is definitely a good option for many people, especially if you're new to exercise, and this might be as simple as walking at a slightly brisk pace. I have seen a video from Gary Brecker suggesting that by doing low intensity exercise you burn more fat, which in some senses is true, but that's not the whole story. You might burn more fat for energy, but this doesn't mean you burn more calories overall or that you burn more body fat. And this is a subtle but crucial point to highlight, so don't be fooled. Unfortunately, this diet and low intensity focus on exercise won't magically burn and reduce your body fat percentage because it's your overall calorie amounts that are going to be the true player in that. But the 30-30-30 diet is ticking some of my favourite concepts within nutrition that contribute to just generally being healthy, so I'm a huge fan of this approach. I should highlight that at the point of recording this episode, the 30-30-30 diet doesn't actually have any evidence behind it. So there aren't any trials involving this dietary approach, so there's no way to quantify the benefits of it, but it definitely does follow some good dietary principles. However, like with most things, it isn't quite as clear-cut as this, and there are some potential drawbacks to the diet, which we should go through. Before we do, just a quick break to say that if you're trying to lose weight and aren't seeing results, check out our 3 weeks vegetarian weight loss meal plan over at hurrythefoodup.com/try. That's TRY. It includes a shopping list, super tasty recipes including ingredients and instructions, and has all the meals planned out for you. So head to hurrythefoodup.com/try to check it out. Link is in the show notes of this episode, and start losing weight with the veggie diet. Okay, so while I think the 30-30-30 diet has some real benefits, I don't think it's quite as simple as saying it's the best diet for either normal healthy living or for weight loss, and we should dive into this. The first issue is that whether you're a veggie or whether you eat meat, with your classic breakfast foods, it's actually pretty difficult to get 30 grams of protein. If you eat meat, then it's definitely easier, but things like cereals or toast don't have heaps of protein in, meaning this is going to be more difficult for you to achieve. If you want to consume whole foods, as in not a protein shake, and you're a vegetarian, then your best option is going for something like low-fat dairy, so 200 grams of low-fat Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, and then something like bran flakes or oats, or you go down the egg route, so omelettes, eggs on toast, or our Hurry the Food Up egg muffins. Now you can of course have something like a protein shake, which is a convenient and easy way to get protein in, and I'm not specifically against that. But I think where possible, this shouldn't be an everyday thing for breakfast. So I think logistically, this might be quite difficult for many people to do. And honestly, if everyone got over 20 grams of protein in their breakfast, I would be super pleased, as that's a great start to the day. I also always think about this from a sport and exercise perspective, and one of my worries about this diet is that it's encouraging people to exercise soon after eating. Unless you are going to just have a protein shake without anything else, you're going to end up eating a reasonable amount of slow digesting food here, and that means you're at increased risk of having stomach upset, especially if you do something like running. So I think one of the nuances that I would recommend here is to say that if you do exercise and you don't get any tummy problems, then that's fine. But actually, you can exercise at any point of the day, and I'd be more keen for you to just work out when it fits into your schedule and lifestyle, rather than saying it has to be first thing in the morning. So you could wait a couple of hours after breakfast to exercise, or you could exercise in the afternoon or evening if that's better for you. Basically, just exercise whenever it works for you in the day. Is way more beneficial for you to just do it consistently, and if morning doesn't fit your routine, that's okay. The other thing which is super important to highlight is that this diet doesn't really give much advice to the rest of the day. Sure, you've followed the 30-30-30 rule first thing. Then what? Do you need to worry about your diet? Can you just eat whatever you like at other points of the day? Do you need protein at lunch and dinner? The problem with this is that it doesn't really give enough context on your diet as a whole or enough guidance. Maybe that wasn't ever the intention, but I've learned through experience with working with clients that generally the clearer, more actionable advice you can give, the better. With regard to weight loss, I could see this as a problem, where someone thinks because they've followed this protocol for the morning, they don't really need to worry about their diet for the rest of the day. So they are much more lenient at lunch and dinner time, and even with snacking too. And on top of that, because this rule emphasizes protein at breakfast, they don't really bother with it at other points of the day, meaning they fall short of their overall protein requirements. This collection of things could easily lead to someone's weight loss efforts derailing because they aren't managing the rest of their diet appropriately. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but these are the things that spring to mind for me. I think if I were to improve this, I would say it's the 30-30-30-30-30 diet, where you focus on 30 grams of protein for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and as snacks throughout the day, plus 30 minutes of exercise at any point. But that's not quite as catchy. Maybe 30 by 5? 30 to the power of 5? I don't know. If you ever popularize that approach after listening to this episode, then please give me some credit. But in short, you definitely could use this approach as a vegetarian, either just for general healthy living or to lose weight. But you'll need to follow more than just this rule. You'll still need to eat satiating, filling, healthy food that is high in protein, fiber, whole grain carbs, veggies, and healthy fats over the day. But I think the essence of this rule isn't bad at all. So I would love to hear what you thought of this episode. If you found it useful and interesting, then please leave a comment and review on whatever platform you're listening on. It will help me to know what topics work well for you and to help it spread to more like-minded people. Cheers, and I'll speak to you soon.